cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the #1 podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. It's time again.
What up, y'all? You tuned in to the 52 Scott podcast. This is Music Monday, and I'm your host, Slash. And with me, I got Comedian 96, K Money, Freddie G. Together, we are the Mind of Men. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast. On Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. All right, welcome back to another Music Monday. Another great topic for you, of course, today. So, on yesterday, or a couple of days, it may have been a day before yesterday, Comedian 96 called me and he was like, man, breaking news. So I'm like, man, what's going on? And he said, man, breaking news, man, they saying Sexy Red is a CIA operative. Or, you know, she working with the CIA. So I'm like, no shit. He was like, yeah, man, look, read. So I'm reading and I'm checking it out. And they saying that, and this is allegedly, she supposedly had been a CIA, I guess, snitch or something for the people. But she supposedly had went by a name, Agent Bow Bow, since 2018. This is what's said here, but at the end of the day on this, it was well, it's all speculation right now. There's no proof.
What's that out of? What resource is that?
What I'm looking at was something on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, people can put anything, you know, but when people start speculating and they hearing stuff like that, you know, it make you kind of wonder and think about other stuff that's going on, because what it made me think about, not even knowing whether it's true or not, was the fact that the guy that had, and she's out of St. Louis, but her label is Yo Gotti, right?
Right.
Okay, so now the guy who had something to do with Young Dolph's murder ended up, I'm guessing, you know, they giving him his time or whatever, right around the time this story comes out. So it makes me say, you know, damn, what is really going on? Not knowing if it's true or not that that's what she was doing. But again, that would seem like that's why this is happening now. But this come from out of her camp. You know, the guy was out of her camp, but that's what's crazy. But anyway, it says that, you know, that may not be necessarily true. But however, what is, and this was reported by Fox, she's being sued for like $5 million in damages due to her son's, one of her children's grandmother. Well, the child's, you know, the baby daddy's mama. So whatever happened around with this situation, something went on, and she went online and sent a mob out, a social mob, out to her to the grandmother's house, you know, to do harm to her.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they did anything or if anything was carried out, but the lady is now saying that she had to move away from her home because she was scared. Now, I don't know if anybody attacked her or kicked in the door or did anything mob-wise. I don't know. I don't think it's been nothing because she didn't mention it. But she said that she can't find another suitable home, you know, where she want to live. But you moved out your house. My thing with this is you didn't have to move out your house, you know, and now that you did and you was afraid, but did anybody do anything to you? Did they run you out of your house? You know what I'm saying? I got questions for that. Not saying that she didn't say send a mob over there, but I'm just saying, even if she did anybody do anything to you to make you leave out of your house? Because if not, then what are you running for?
Well, I mean, I could imagine, man, if a mob was sent, you know how ignorant we could be. You know, I could just imagine just the disrespect that she was probably dealing with. You know, and I don't know how old the mother-in-law, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how old.
Well, not the mother-in-law, the grandmother, because she's not married to the child's father.
Grandmother.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
gonna be honest, man. I can see and this is for female artists. I can see a mob for a Nicki Minaj. I can see a mob for a Cardi B. I can see a mob for Young M.A. I don't. What mob would posse up for Sexy Red? I mean, nothing, no shade against her. Well, a little bit, but who would posse up for a Sexy Red?
Man, you'd be surprised what people do, man, because it's not the same way we was raised to understand right from wrong. Mm-hmm. And being on social media, seeing people do whatever they want to do, thinking they can get away with it. People will try anything, knowing. I mean, it's crazy. You got people out here that'll rob you at the stoplight, knowing it's a camera looking at them, so they don't have the sense to understand. So they'll do whatever she say if they just a fan like that, and thinking that's gonna get them some type of popularity for doing something, because they'll put it on their camera. They'll Instagram it.
In a minute.
I went to Sexy Red's baby mom's or baby's grandmother house, and this is what I did, and I'm here now, and foolishness
on social media with it.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
that's right.
That's crazy. You just don't know. And people are crazy enough to do anything. We've seen anything that can happen now. It's not much that you can think of that wouldn't happen that happened. So it's all bad now in a lot of different ways. So you got to be careful what you encourage your followers to do, because she may have 40 million followers, and the power's in the numbers. She may get 1% of that to go out and do it, even if and if that's the case, then that's still like 400 people in a mob, out of 40 million people. That
all you need is 10, 5, 10.
You know what I'm saying? So you just
10 motherfuckers will get on my nerve, but if they was outside my crib.
Exactly. One, I don't want one person standing out there talking about they a mob to do something to me because you sent somebody over. So my thing is just trying to get an understanding, because this woman is suing her for $5 million in damages. What happened? You know what I mean?
Something had to happen if she moved and all that. Something she was afraid of something. Somebody showed up if she moving.
Yeah.
Somebody did something.
But it wasn't said whether or not anybody did anything like kicked the door or broke a window or harmed anybody. I don't think no punches was blown. I mean, it's just not stating enough at this moment for me to say, well, I see why she's asking for this type of money.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Because the mom could have been, the grandmother, could have been the type of grandmother that just live in the hood, do a little bit, not much, and just trying to find a payday out the girl.
Yeah, she could be one of them young grandmas.
You know what I'm saying? Knowing that she's got a child from somebody else. So she probably just trying to get in there and get some money. These types of cases, man, are so strange, and I think it happens in a lot of different cultures, but in our culture, man, people just all about the money all the time.
Yep.
There's no pause on being all about the money.
They suing
just sue for any little thing.
Anything.
And I can understand where if it caused you bodily harm or damaged your home or damaged your car, I can understand. But if none of this happened, you shouldn't be suing her for $5 million. Now, I can understand if you said, okay, you still, if Sexy Red did say this, or she did send a mob out, if she know what she tweeted or whatever, now if she did, I think that she's wrong.
Yeah.
Number one. And if this woman moved because you said it, is it true that you said this or not first too? Because if you didn't say it, then I can't charge you with a crime.
Well, do you remember this? We did this show last year when we talked about Chloe and all of them when they went to the nail shop, and they didn't intentionally send nobody to the nail. They went to the nail shop and they were late. Basically, they were late. They didn't get there on time. Then they talked down on the nail shop, and then all of a sudden, their followers, even though they didn't say anything about going over there and don't deal, they just stopped giving them business and everything. So now they trying to sue Chloe and them for because they lost business and nobody want to go to them no more.
Right.
So you're right. They like to sue for everything. It's like Chloe them didn't tell. They just said, man, this lady didn't give us no great customer service, and now she lost business. Now you want to sue them. You want to sue Chloe, the singers.
Right.
You can't do that.
So let me ask you: in addition to the lawsuit, is she charged with a crime?
No.
Because here's my thought.
But
right?
what it is a harassment.
Yeah. So
settlement.
here's my thought. So let's say Sexy Red was a part of a gang, right? But she wasn't famous and didn't have any money. She just was a part of the Crips or Bloods or something, right? And whatever went down, she said, man, y'all go over there and harass her, do whatever. Then I would want to know, what would Grandma do? Would she still sue?
Right.
Like what would she do?
It's crazy.
Because if you ain't got no money, you know. So to me, that sound like
Right.
a money grab.
It sound like
because
yeah.
in order to make the lawsuit look more legit, let me go ahead and move to put that in
Yeah.
my lawsuit.
To put it in there.
That hey, not only do I have PTSD or whatever from these people coming around, and I'm nervous and I'm fearful, I had to uproot and move, and it just looks a little bit better, making the case stronger if I up and move.
Yeah.
But let's say Sexy Red didn't have no money; she was just a part of a gang.
Would she do it?
Well,
then?
in her music, it says she's expressed affiliation with blood gangs. So in her music.
Well, my point in saying that, and I
Yeah.
just use gang,
Yeah.
but my point in saying is, what if she wasn't famous, but she had a bunch of friends to go over to Grandma?
True that.
Or to go over there to harass and do.
Yeah.
She still
Would
sue.
she still sue?
Right.
That's my point.
If she wasn't a celebrity.
Even if she wasn't a celebrity,
If
no
she
nothing.
wasn't a celebrity,
Yeah.
but you still getting this harassment, would you still sue?
Would you still sue? Yeah.
And then I'm saying the amount of harassment you suing is unheard of. $5 million. Why do you need $5 million? That's why I say the amount of money that she's putting on this, and if nothing happened, nobody touched nobody, you asking for too
Okay, I
much.
get that.
Well, even with the amount of money, you aim high because you know they're gonna go low.
Yeah, but shit, come on, man.
Yeah.
If there's
shoot high.
my only thing in that is, where's the proof that she sent anybody out?
Well,
to
if
you?
it was done on social media, that'll be easy to get. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
and there's no proof showing visually. That would have to come up in court. You know what I mean? And they haven't shown any proof of her saying anything like that. So, you know, I just think the amount is outrageous. The harassment suit is outrageous. It sounds like just trying to get some money, and I don't think Sexy Red had nothing to do with saying nothing like that. I think she's smarter than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though she's from the hood, I still think she's smarter than that. Why would she do that? Makes no sense, because that's a crime now. If if she seeks $5 million and she's awarded $5 million, then that means Sexy Red should have a harassment charge.
Keep in mind now, you just said she from the hood. So just think about some of these baby mamas, how ratchet they could be.
Yeah.
You know, especially with they baby mama's mama, or baby daddy's mom, I mean. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I can see it happening. But I agree with you in regards to the lawsuit being extreme.
Right. That's a little high, man. You know, I just don't. And like I say, I don't know what happened. But this is Fox News reporting this situation. So obviously it's filed in court, you know, and they have records to prove that. But I just don't believe. I think there has to be proof that Sexy Red sent a mob of people over there first to determine anything. You know, I see the money situation, but I mean, and here's another issue. The grandmother is more about herself than even the child. What about your son and the baby? That's your grandbaby.
Yeah, you didn't even mention. Yeah.
The baby daddy, is he even mentioned in
He
the
not
lawsuit
even
at all, or
mentioned
in the story?
At all. Like, he don't even exist. But the thing is, that's your son and your grandchild. This just the mother. Why are you trying to sue these people? You taking food out your what are you doing? That's your granddaughter mouth. You finna take that food out of.
Yep.
That amount of money. That's why I say black people be on some silly shit, man. And they don't pay attention to the real shit. They just do dumb shit. And it's sickening. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the amount of money, man, $5 million for that. And, now, come on. All right, so in other news, the next person I want to talk about, he's got a #1 album in UK, his first #1 album in the UK music, Playboi Carti. Y'all familiar with Playboi Carti?
I've heard of him, but I ain't really listened to his music.
Nah,
same here.
I'll tell you, I listened to him recently, and he all right. You know, he pretty good. I think he does what the other youngsters do. I can listen to him. He got auto-tune. He do all of that. But I can kind of listen to him. I like his beats. He's not outrageously trap music like the rest of everybody, you know.
Got you.
But this album is his first album after more than 4 years. The last album he dropped was in December in 2020. So he peaked at number 17 in the UK, but this one is his #1 album. Now, he is an Atlanta rapper, real name Jordan Carter. Also previous success on official UK album chart in 2018 with Die Lit, which was number 27. So he back on it again. He just got a #1. So he was 27, number 27 on that particular song or particular album chart. 6 years later, he's #1. So that to me tells me that he been working on his craft or focusing in areas where he knew he wanted to go. Because that's not just I'm a hit a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of artists, just to tell you the truth, if you hit number 27 on the charts, you maybe hit 25 or 20, but that's a big jump in 6 years to go from 27 to #1. And the thing, and really another reason why I'm trying to explain this is because this is in the UK. This don't have nothing to do with American sales. So it's just amount of people out there buying his shit and listening to his shit as it is in America. Meaning he probably making more money in the UK than he is here in America. A lot of artists can be the biggest artist names and brands in other countries than they can be right in their hometown.
Yeah, that shit add up too.
You know what I'm saying? And that money is good out there, man. You can actually go out there and tour and be an unknown artist and make $2,000 a night in another country.
Easy. Yep.
You don't even have to be a household name in another country. But what I'm saying is Cardi B took what he knew he had and said, man, let me...
Playboi Carti.
I'm sorry. Playboi Carti. He took what he knew he had and said, you know what, let me elevate it. Because he wasn't worried about American sales. He wasn't worried about sales in America. The man was trying to hit #1 on the charts where he know he get his money at. We don't know when these people go overseas and do shows. This is where the bulk of their money come from. Like a lot of these artists we see that's really, really got a lot of money, that's where they getting their money from. They overseas doing shows. They doing tours overseas. And most of the tours Michael Jackson used to do was where? It wasn't in America.
It wasn't in America.
The man was in another country.
Always in another country.
Always in another country getting his money, man. I mean, it's so much money out there. The people show up in, immaculate sizes coming to it's 30, 40,000 people at the outside.
I remember that.
People
falling out fainting.
Yeah, you get your money, man, in those other countries, man. So I that's why I'm kind of wanting to take this story to show the other people or the people that's inspiring to be artists. Don't just make music for your hood. Stop doing that shit. This is all that's flooded on the radio. Everybody making music for their hood, for their homeboy to ride down the street and jam or put in his trunk. What is that shit about? That's the type of money you want to make? Come on, man.
We got to be hood famous.
You know what I'm saying? We got to really think about what's going on out here, man. It's a big world.
Well, UK artists are following that same kind of logic. They're doing the same kind of, doing that rap, that same kind of rap.
Well, here's the thing. When you talk about UK artists and the similarities of US artists, the ones in the UK trying to get over here so they can get the money.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? It is what it is on that music.
But they're not successful here like our artists are going out there.
All of them not. Adele was very successful over here.
Adele was.
Coming from the UK to America, her music really soared and she made a lot of money. She's really big over here. But I think that's the dream for any artist anywhere, to be big in another country. It only makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what you should shoot for rather than shooting for my neighbor having my song. And that's what the rappers are now making music doing. You know, it's flooded with everybody trying to make music for the nigga next door. Come on, man.
Sometimes them people can't. Sometimes, man, when they make music like that, they can't see past their demographics.
Right. And that's the problem.
And so when you can't see past your demographics, then it's like, okay, but now on the flip side of that too is like, well, damn, I know that my man next door liked the way I rap, so let me do with this, and maybe he'll pass the word. And so once you start making a buzz in your hometown or whatever, then it's kind of like, well, shit, this must be what everybody likes.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and I understand that, you know. But when you get to that level where you have a lot of artists out here that's really hot just in America, a lot of these cats that we listen to or think we know of, they probably not doing these shows over in the UK or selling over in the UK like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's kind of crazy, but for him to be doing what he's doing, I think it's great. Now this album is 30 tracks long. He got cameos of a lot of star guest lists. You know, Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott, Lil Uzi Vert, Janae Aiko even on there. So I think he's gonna have a pretty good album. Yeah, it sounds like it's a pretty good album. He got the right lineup.
He got a lineup.
You know, yeah, anything, especially if you put her on there. I like her sound. And she did a song and she had I think who it was, Daz Dillinger on there from the Dog Pound.
From the Dog Pound?
Yeah, he was on her album if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they cool or whatever, and you know, they had a little video or whatever. But yeah, Playboi Carti doing his thing, man. I think, you know, you making the right move. I mean, I support your sound. I think some of the artists that are in your era probably should kind of follow the trend. If they not paying attention to what you're doing, then maybe they should. But I mean, stick in there, man. Keep getting it, man. And you got a #1 album in the UK. You can get another #1 album in the UK. But you know, the US go only let you go so far, man. It's a little crazy out here, man. But shout out to you, man. Keep doing your thing. We out. Peace. So that's all, y'all, for this edition of Music Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Come back tomorrow and check out True Tuesday with K Money. Hit that like button, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, D52 Scott Podcast. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast.